Hey everybody, my name is KryptoCal and welcome to the next episode of All the Mods 9. And you're joining us inside of our brand new, fully constructed apiary. We have been hard at work, as you can see in the beginning clips. Obviously I cut out a lot of it because we did a lot of just trial and error stuff, but we ended up finishing the entire build. Grace was working hard on the detail and shadow and the texture work out here on the front and the sides, so she's been working hard at that. And I also was working on the side wing pieces here that come out to each side of the main part of the build. I think it just adds a lot of shape and character to this build, and I think the whole thing turned out pretty amazing. It took me way longer than I'd like to admit to wrap my head around the floor pattern, but I ended up getting it to work eventually. And as for this middle area here with the cobblestone, this is essentially going to be an area that we have planned to have a big tree as kind of the centerpiece of the entire build. Now, Grace has a plan to make some custom tree within this area, so it's going to be a pretty awesome centerpiece for the whole build, and I think it'll make the whole thing feel a whole lot more natural while keeping the overall aesthetic the same. But we're not all about the aesthetics around here. We have to function.
Yes, we are.
We have to make these things function as well. So Grace, if you'll join me back at our corporate office, I have a matter to discuss with you.
I'm in trouble with HR.
So Grace, as an employee of Corporate Incorporated,
An egg.
Stupid Toby. We've been putting a lot of investment into this whole B project you've been working on, and the shareholders are starting to get a little anxious because we haven't seen any returns for all the investment. Anything you care to add to that?
I took the money and ran. They're never seeing a penny of it. We're very grateful for our shareholders and the amount that they've contributed to our research, but largely focused on just sorting things out legally and making sure that this is all within our rights to do, and hoping to see profits in the next quarter.
I have a plan to help speed up some of that implementation to get us those profits as soon as possible. And I've gathered up all the resources that she's probably going to need to completely automate the production of resources from our bees and send them into our storage system. I'm going to let her take all the things that she has available to her in the backpack and make some sort of automation work. I could obviously give my input and do it all myself, but I think it'd be a little more fun to have her set up the automation because, well, it's part of the learning and part of the fun as well. You're gonna have fun, right?
Mom, I'm scared. Come pick me up.
So we're gonna sort out some things about where we're gonna put this, and we'll come back and get this automation underway.
So I'm gonna start out with these lads. These are some of the wannabes that we have. I moved them out of the lunchroom. I brought the wither along so that they can lightly chew on him. So why did you give me 3 different types of pipes? I know why I have the fluid and item pipes, but why the universal?
I just gave you things you could use. It's up to you to decide which of these things you want to use for which task. All the function is here. It's just kind of up to you what you want to use.
Okay. So these guys largely produce items. So I'm going to want the item interface and the item importer.
So the item interface is what you put on the thing you want to send items to. The item importer is what you're going to be pulling items out of.
Yeah, look at her go.
Yes,
I have item
there should be
interfaces,
white interfaces that are what you put.
Oh, right. Those are what you connect to. Oh.
There's just one thing that you're missing, which is the variable cards.
Except I've made a horrible mistake though. I used the 1B that doesn't have a centrifuge.
That doesn't have comb. Peach beehive. Ooh, fancy. With all the modium bees in here? Okay.
I started out with color coding these, and then I ran out of some of the colors I needed, so I just kind of became random after a while. Okay, so let's try this again. That. And then all the comb should end up in there.
But
sorry, and what does a variable card do?
By default, the item importer doesn't really know what to do with itself until you tell it what to do. If you put a variable card in the import all items slot, it then knows to import every item that it can out of what it's connected to, and then it'll put it into wherever there is an interface. So in this case, we do have an allthemodium comb in the centrifuge. So you've done it.
So I have to power it?
Oh, she's hooking the power in the corner. I like it.
Yeah, you gotta have it be aesthetic. So is that how it generates it? That needs to connect to the kitchen sink.
Are you extracting out of the sink?
Oh, right. You've got to do... Oh, you need a wrench. Now it's working. There we go. Very nice. I have power. I can run it over there underneath, and it's all stealth-like. Oh, you can look into this, and it's got stars in it. It's very pretty. Can you tell me where the centrifuge is located? I don't remember. Oh.
Right here. Yep.
Cool. We have power?
Mm-hmm.
Ha ha ha.
We have all the modium nuggets.
Look at me cook.
So you'll notice that the power centrifuge is working, but the resources are not being extracted. What? How do they get in here? Do they spawn in here?
I think they're spawning in here, yeah.
I've been sleeping,
Which is
though.
kind of hilarious, if you ask me.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, we're going to put the diamond beads in, but I need a simulator upgrade before I do anything.
You just inverted the importer.
Dang it! The wording is not very clear. But I did it. Now they're more connected up.
Cool.
Okay, so that's how that works.
So that can be basically tiled. You can even put one right beside it too, like side by side. You can fill this gap in here.
I don't want to do that though.
Well, we'll kind of go from here. We'll probably set up a few more bees with this exact same setup, and then we'll come on right back. One thing that we noticed here that we actually have to take into account is all of the ore bees, like the gold bee and the copper bee, they actually provide an output in terms of a raw block. So you get a raw piece of copper, or you at least get a 40% chance of a raw copper for every copper comb gone through the centrifuge. We don't actually have any spots in our storage for the raw blocks. So it's potentially going to be something that we're going to have to do is probably set up a smelter or some sort of smelter in the back here that all of the raw materials can go right into to get smelted up first and then go into the ender chest down here. So I think to solve that problem of smelting, we'll go ahead and just grab a furnace from our storage. I don't think it's going to have to be one of the super crazy fast ones. Probably just either the gold or diamond one will be good enough. I'm going to go with the diamond one for now. Actually, we'll go with the emerald furnace. But what we can actually do now is also craft up what's called a factory upgrade. And the factory upgrades, if you put them inside of the furnaces, will actually convert it into a type of smelter that requires power as fuel instead of using like the hard fuel like coal. So we can actually tap into some of the power we have over there, hopefully, to also run this furnace. So if we place the furnace down right here or something like that, we might need to bring over some power. So by default, the emerald furnace only has one input and one output slot here, and it takes the raw fuel to smelt. But if we take our factory augment and apply it, we can now see that there are 6 smelting slots that we can use in this one furnace, and it takes power as fuel. We're going to make sure that auto split is checked on, and auto input and auto output are both on as well. I'm going to put an item interface onto the front here, and I'm going to actually set this to be an item input, and we're going to output to the right. Just going to do an interface just like so. And that should hopefully take care of our smelting requirements once we hook this into some power. Let's get the power in here just like so. That should start to fuel up with power, which it is. Now, one thing I could do, I think, with these interfaces, if I come in here and grab some logic cable, I can actually increase the priority on this interface. So for example, if I set this to 50 and hit save, this should by default try and send everything to the furnace first if it can, and then if it can't do that, then we're going to have it go directly to the ender chest, which I believe it just did. I think we just got items coming in, were smelted, and immediately got sent into our storage. It all happened very fast, but I think that actually will work out pretty well. Cool, so every time we get some raw copper or raw gold, it'll automatically smelt up and send right into our storage, which is awesome. All right, just a quick check-in to see how we are getting on here. We're on to the second layer of setting up the bees here. We have basically every resource that we could think of that we could want, kind of the base resources already set up here. Grace is working on the third layer right now. Essentially how I have it back here so far is I've added 2 more centrifuges. We could add a couple more. I have 2 more ready to go if we need to, but I'm just trying to see if this is going to be enough to keep up with all of our combs. Now, one thing to keep in mind is all these hives aren't upgraded at all, so none of these have production upgrades. So we're going to have to probably run this test through again once we have these all upgraded, but that'll probably have to come with time. Now, there is something that I've noticed here, and that is that the quartz is coming into the furnace directly and turning into silicone instead of just staying as raw quartz. So we might have to think about a way to get around that and not have it go into the smelter first. But other than that, everything else I think is coming in pretty well into our storage. And I don't know, it looks like we're not getting a backup because it looks like a couple of these centrifuges are cleared out fully. So that's actually a good sign that we can keep up with the production currently. So that's a little bit more tinkering here. We have, I think it is a finished setup, and all the bees that we want automated are fully automated and producing all of their drops into the centrifuges or into the ender chests. Now, there's a couple bees up here, for example, the wannabes that we had down in the hyper box, we moved up here to be producing some nether stars, but because they don't actually produce any honeycomb, all of their drops are going directly into an ender chest up here. And we have a couple of combs to clear out, it looks like, out of here, but for the most part, every other drop that is going to be a comb is coming down here to get centrifuged in one of these 3 centrifuges. And I went ahead and did a little bit of tweaking here of the setup for the smelting. I ended up having to brute force it a little bit because there were a couple issues with these 2 logic lines connecting, and the quartz and also the slime balls were getting automatically smelted into different materials, which we didn't actually want. So I went ahead and just used a couple extra logic steps here. I used a list card to make sure we specify only the materials that we want to come into the smelter do, and everything else gets sent directly to storage. And over here, we have all of our fluids that we're producing so far. We have the mineral resin and honey that are coming in directly. We should also have soul lava and the oil here, but I don't know if these are... Oh, these aren't hooked up yet. So we have to actually hook up the import all items cards in here. Yeah, so we'll have all these hooked up, and we should have also the soul lava and oil also coming into our fluid drawer here for storage, which it is. Perfect. And to hide this mess down here, I can just use some facades on the 2 cables like this. And after a quick netherite furnace upgrade here, everything is running at peak efficiency. All of our centrifuges are working flawlessly, and everything is just working. Feels so good to have resources coming in now. But on that note, I think what we're going to do is just kind of tidy up some more things. Grace is going to, in the meanwhile, be working on upgrading some of the bees to the higher productivities, and also upgrading and getting some upgrades into the hives themselves. So we're going to take a little bit of a pivot here, and we're going to go on a bit of an adventure. And that adventure is going to be diving into the Twilight Forest. Now, before we dive into the Twilight Forest, I actually want to do one more quick automation with the bees, and that is to get the honey blocks automated, because currently how we're crafting honey blocks up is just getting a bucket of honey and then crafting it like this into a honey block. And it's a real pain to craft honey this way. So what I'm thinking of doing is crafting up this blast chiller from Thermal Series, which will then allow us to take the honey from productive bees and turn it directly into the honey blocks. No buckets or bottles required. It just takes a couple of Invar gears and a machine frame, which shouldn't be too hard. The Invar actually is a little bit easier in this pack because you can craft it directly using iron and nickel, so we'll craft up a little bit of this as well. Grab ourselves 2 Invar gears, and that is our blast chiller. There are also a couple upgrades we can add to this to help speed the whole process up, and also craft up some of these integral components, which also are probably doable to craft up at least the first tier, because it just requires a little bit of this basic stuff here, as well as potentially even the next tier, if we can craft up a little bit of signalum, which actually is doable considering we have this recipe with the fire charges. We can actually craft up a little bit of signalum this way. We shouldn't need more than just 2 gears worth, and then also need a little bit of electrum, which is also craftable. And we can actually get the second tier, the reinforced integral component. And then we'll actually go ahead and also add in a couple of these flux linkage amplifiers. Now we want this to only extract the honey out of that drawer. So I'm thinking what we're going to do is take a variable card here, and we're going to want to configure this to only accept honey. So coming down here, there is actually a fluid here that we can come in here and select. I believe that should be good. If I come in here, add that. Our fluid is honey now, so that means that our variable card should be all selected. So now what I'm going to do is take a fluid importer off the side, going to add a logic cable just like so, and we'll place in inside of the import fluid category here, we'll add our variable card. So that should be exporting honey. Now we don't want it to connect to the other stuff here, so let's disconnect it right there. That shouldn't be a problem now. So to keep things simple, I'm thinking about putting the blast chiller down somewhere like here. That should get power from the bottom, which it is. We'll also go ahead and add our upgrades in. So now we're going to go ahead and place our fluid interface on this side. And then we just need to hook up our logic cable like so. If I input from the left, it should autofill with honey, which it is. And as you can see, it's converting automatically into the honey blocks, which is perfect. We want to output to the right-hand side, which is what we want. And then finally, we're going to come in here and we have to get a couple more pipes to hook it into the ender chest. But that's effectively it. Now we have honey blocks fully automated. Well, we're just about ready to go and take on the Twilight Forest. How we're going to do this is probably going to be in the form of a montage of us going through the Twilight Forest progression, because I know a lot of people have done Twilight Forest before, and frankly, it can get a little repetitive after a while. So what I figure I'll do is I'll break up our adventure into some more bite-sized segments that are a little more edited so that we can kind of just go through the important... Get your umbrella out of my face. If you go to the quest tab for Twilight Forest, to access the Twilight Forest dimension, you surround a 2x2 hole of water with flowers, and you throw a diamond in the middle. Grace, do you want to do the honors and throw the diamond in the middle?
Oh, sure. I can do that. Oh, I just got struck by lightning.
There we go. Twilight Forest has been unlocked, and the progression shows up here once you unlock the, once you actually unlock the portal. It shows you the entire progression of the Twilight Forest, which is kind of cool. Without further ado, I got a waystone here, so we can go ahead and jump on in and get started.
That's a cool looking sapling.
Twilight Forest is a boss fighting progression style mod. So basically what you do is you have to fight the bosses one at a time in the order that they come. The dimension itself actually limits you from going and completing the other boss tasks until you've completed the one before. So it's a pretty linear progression system. It makes it very easy to keep track of, and so it's hard to really get lost in the Twilight Forest. You kind of always know what you have to do next. So to get started here, we have to fight the first boss, Grace, which will be the Naga. So the best way that we're going to be able to do this in the pack is going to be using the structure compass. So we can go in here and search for Twilight, and then we want to look for the Naga courtyard. So we'll go ahead and select that. Okay. Right click, and there's one 460 blocks away. All right, here we are, the Naga courtyard. First boss, ready to fight.
Oh, it's a snake.
He's a snaky boy.
It's not a one-shot. Comfortably not. But honestly, it might as well have been. I don't think I took a single hit of damage. All
right, well, that's the first boss done. Pretty straightforward. Cool. And we are looking for the Lich Tower. There we go. 540 blocks further southwest. The secret is, because we do have a way to fly up there with the book, he is in one of the larger buildings up in the top. So we can kind of bypass the repetitive staircases and just kind of dig in the top here. Now, this boss fight's a little different. You're not going to be able to do damage to him straight up. You have to reflect his projectiles back at him.
Should I? Go. Oh, okay.
I think you can even punch. Yeah, you can punch the projectiles back at him. Oh, there we go. Now we can hit him. Get him. All right, the next thing that we're going to be going to now is going to be the Minnow Shroom Labyrinth.
Okay.
I think I have here, and it's 1,000 blocks away. Actually, back the direction we came. Yep, I'm right here. It's inside of this hole. This is where we start our maze adventure. Let's go.
Torches. I only have like 18.
To continue along the quest progression here, we had to craft a blank maze map. Actually, I'm going to put on the night vision goggles here.
Wait, I'm joining you. I'm wearing the night vision already. Wait, where'd you go?
For the people.
There's a thing in there.
Oh, Minotaurs. Okay, so I have a maze map focus, and I have the paper, so I can craft up that map. The blank maze map here, which should complete our quest. This actually does provide you with a map to use to navigate. Oh, if you find steel leaf in chest, Grace, we do need this stuff.
Oh, okay. I have a little bit of it.
Oh, I found it. The way down to the next level.
Oh.
Wait.
The Minnow Shroom.
Where is he?
With me. He's kind of cute, though. I don't really want to kill him. I took a screenshot of him. He's kind of a nugget. I kind of don't want to kill him. Look at this ridiculous Chad.
Look at him.
Look at him. He's kind of cute. I don't want to get rid of him.
Maybe we can just take his things.
Can we swab him? I want to swab him. I would like to swab him.
Here you go. He has now been swabbed.
Oh, I got a map maze focus. I guess you gotta kill him. Oh. That was fast. Meat stroganoff.
Well, that is the one thing that I always make the mistake of, is you have to drink at least one
Well, okay.
to complete the
I'll
quest
bring
line
one
here.
then. We'll bring one, and then I guess I'll drink some. Life's too short.
I'll bring one
lick
with
the
me.
bowl. My friends have a sign that says life's too short, lick the bowl, but they put it in the bathroom.
That makes it a whole lot different, yeah.
It really changes the vibe of the situation.
So now the problem is,
getting out of here.
back home we go. If I was smart, I would have put a waystone down in Twilight Forest and then just gone back to that. All right, so the next boss up is going to be the Hydra. We're looking for the Hydra lair. 712 blocks northwest. All right, here we are at the Hydra lair.
Oh, uh-oh.
We are now here. I need to swab him really quick. Cassie, no,
Cassie
wait.
has awoken. Cassie.
What is this guy's
area.
hitbox? I need to swab you. Hello.
Give me the swab. I don't think you can swab him.
I've done it before.
Then you have a broken swab. He does not seem like he wants to be swabbed. Get licked next time, I suppose. Yeah, I've been just kind of chilling. Wait, I understand why it's called the Twilight Forest now.
Moving on, we have to go to collect the Night Phantom Trophy. So that means we have to go ahead and search for, I believe it is called the Night Stronghold, which is 1,500 blocks away. All right, the next dungeon we're after is inside of the Dark Forest. So I think I'm going to put on the night vision goggles once again for this.
Whoa, what the heck happened? There's
Oh.
a broken texture on my screen.
Not sure why we're getting that texture. Normally that only appears when you're not supposed to be somewhere, but we are supposed to be here. All right, so I'm not sure why I'm getting all these weird textures here, but this should hopefully solve it if I put the Hydra trophy here. All right, it looks like that did actually help. Dungeon is open, so now we have to go in here, and what we're looking for is the Night Phantom to kill and get the Night Phantom trophy. Not exactly sure where. I think he can kind of be anywhere in this labyrinth of a dungeon, so we'll just kind of go ahead and run till we find him, I guess.
Something is crying in agony.
On the third layer, you'll find the Night Phantoms. So I'm not sure if that means like the lowest layer, like the third level. Well, we found the place here, but I realized that I wasn't recording when I did the boss fight down here, but we found the spot, killed the boss, and we have the Night Phantom trophy here. It was literally the easiest fight we've done so far. It was just like hitting them a few times, and that was pretty much it. So now that we've unlocked that, we can basically move on to my least favorite of all of these, which is the Urgast battle at the Dark Tower. And if you pull up the map here, we can see that Grace is already on her way to the Dark Tower, and that's where we're going to be heading next to get that next boss fight done. The Urgast is at the very top there, and once we get close to it, it will spawn. All right, you ready? Let's go.
Oh, he's so big and ugly.
Oh, good job. You did it.
I just wanted him to go away. He's very, very, very bad looking.
The Urgast trophy, as well as a little bit of fiery tears and carbonite for our efforts, which is great. Our next progression is we have to go to defeat the Alpha Yeti, and they throw you around.
They just yeet you. They just decided you were in the wrong location.
I love them all.
Oh, ah!
Here's the Alpha.
Well,
we've done
that
it.
was very simple. Why are you frozen? Oh, he should.
All right, and next up is going to be the Queen, the Ice Queen. I believe she's in not the tallest one, I don't think. No, isn't this tower. Okay. Oh, Snow Queen, I see.
Yeah, found her. I'm trying to get to her, but she's kind of moving around like a jerk.
There it is.
She's gone.
Ooh, and a decent
cool
bow. So this is normally where the end of the Twilight Forest progression is required for the star. Now, we can choose to go a little further. There's just a couple more bosses that we can go and find. But what we're going to do is we're probably just going to go ahead and skip most of the rest of this. I'm not going to show much more of the content because a lot of these bosses are going to be the exact same thing we've been doing. Just a lot of smacking, and none of the loot is really that required. So we'll probably end up just cutting until we get back to the final castle, and then we'll probably check back in. that's effectively the entirety of the Twilight Forest completed, start to finish. But I think that's what we're going to call it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I really hope you did enjoy. If you did enjoy, feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to join the Discord. The link is in the description down below. But that's it for me, everybody. I hope you all have a good one, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye!